Revelations 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Now this Satan, the devil, this has been used to hide who the real enemy is on earth, the enemy of God. Now, when you go to Deuteronomy, it tells you that the enemies of God is the enemies of his people. When you read Deuteronomy 28:68, it says, And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way thereof I spoke unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for slave man and slave woman, and no one shall buy you or redeem you. So he sold these Israelites to their enemies, into slavery to their enemies, to be slaves to their enemies. Now, this Satan, the devil, has been used to hide the enemies. Just like a mask, you hide yourself. They've been used to hide the enemies of the Israelites. They twisted up the metaphor or the word that was used to describe the enemy. They twisted it up to create a whole personality and a whole image, to where now you can't see the enemy, you only see the image that the enemy have created to disguise himself or hide himself. Okay?
See that the word Satan, refers to an adversary, political or military adversary. When the captains of the Philistines are afraid that David would cross the line back to his former master Saul, they say that he would turn to be their Satan, their adversary, their military adversary. When God is punishing Solomon for his sins, he makes for him a Satan by the name of Rezon ben Eliada, a political adversary, a real person. Even when it refers to a superhuman adversary, to a divine adversary, it refers to an accuser in the divine courtroom or divine council, as we can see in Job chapter 1 and 2, as well as in Zechariah 3. Making a long story short, Satan is not what you thought it is. If you enjoyed this video, they do not have wings. The Hebrew word malach simply means a messenger. The Hebrew word malach simply means a messenger. The Hebrew word malach simply means a messenger.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So the dragon angels was not angels in heaven, because angels means messengers. You see, and heaven in Old English is the sky. So Michael and his warriors in the sky, or army in the sky, fought against the dragon and his army in the sky. That's what the vision was being seen. Now, in this Satan, it only means adversary, and devil means to deceive. So that's why in verse 9 it say that he deceived the whole world, the red dragon, and Satan is just the adversary, the other nation that was fighting against the Israelites, the adversary to the Israelites. You see? So they masked themselves with an enemy, or with an image that was not according to the Bible. Because when you go to Genesis, it lets you know how God proclaimed it was going to be an enemy to his people. It was going to be a nation, no, Salakia, Exodus. When you go to Exodus chapter 17, he lets you know who his adversary would be, who his enemy would be throughout all the enemy's generation. And when you start at Exodus 17, verse 8, it said, then came Amalek. Amalek was a grandchild of Esau, so he was an Edomite, or they were Edomites, and fought with Israel in Rephidim. You see? So this was, soon as they came out of Egypt, you had these red dragons fighting against the Israelites. And so in 14, he made a memorial of this situation. And he told you this was going to be until the end of the world. 17:14 of Exodus. And the Lord said unto Moses, write this in the memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out of remembrance of Amalek from under the heaven. And the Moses built an altar and called it the name of Yahweh Nisi. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war. You see in Revelation, he will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That means forever. This who the Lord will be warring against. The red dragons, the Edomites, the nation of Edom. You see, that's who the Lord will have war with. That's who the enemies of the Lord were. Now, that is recorded in Esther. Esther recorded the situation, and she quoted it in the exact manner it needed to be quoted in. That's why she is the perfect precept, or that book is the perfect precept to this situation. Esther verse, Esther chapter 3, verse 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, an Agagite, the Jews' enemy. Now, Haman was an Edomite because the Agagite, they was the Jews' enemy. They was the Jews' adversary. You see, that's who the Jews' adversary was, the tribe of Amalek. And the Agagite in 1 Samuel 15, they was warned again with the Jews, with the house of David. Even the Amalek came and attacked the what was Zigzag, and burnt the city down and took everybody into slavery because they was gonna be the adversary of the Israelites until the end of the world. You see, so what these Edomites did, they put a mask on themselves. They don't want nobody to know that they are the adversary of God and his people. And they have his people in captivity. That's why when you go to Psalms 137, verse 3 and verse 7 and 8, he says in verse 3, for there they carried us away captives, required of us a song. They that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing us one of them songs of Sion. You see, that's what the Edomites do. All of the so-called Jewish Edomites, they own the record companies, and the other Edomites, they want to always listen to the songs of the children of Israel. Now, when you go to verse 7, it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom. That's the Edomites. Remember the children of Edom, because they are the ones who going to be warned with us. In verse 8, it say, O daughter of Babylon. That meaning Babylon the Great. Not the first Babylon, but the daughter of Babylon. And John in Revelation just called it Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon. Because the Edomites was going to hide themselves, according to Jeremiah 49:10. They was going to hide themselves. You see, that's what a snake and a snake do. He hide in the grass. He's a deceiver. He deceive you and bite you and put poison in you and kill you. You see, that's what the adversary does. So when you go to the New Testament and you look at Yahushua and Yahushua, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, when you look at what he told his disciples, you see what how he told them. You can see that he was not talking about some spirit that's floating around and you don't know, it's some angel or something floating around. When you go to John 14 verse 30, hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and has nothing in me. Now, the prince of this world. Now, when you understand how the Bible is written in the name of Israel, the name of Israel is the prince of God, the prince that has power with God. So that's the prince of the next world. We gonna be the prince of the next world. But this world right here, the prince of this world is the Edomites. That's why the Romans was coming. The Romans was coming, and Christ said, look, there go the prince of this world. He coming. There go them Romans. There go them Edomites. They coming. Let's get up and go. You see, that's what he was telling them. And he says in verse 31, he say, arise, let us go hence. You see, he told them, let's arise, everybody stand up, let's go. Here come these Edomites. So they trying to hide behind the fact that they are the adversary, and they want to present this spooky spirit that's in the underworld and all this kind of stuff, and he hiding under the ground, and whoever is doing bad, they get sit under the ground with him and burn forever in some fire. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, you see, your adversary, that's what Satan means. Your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. The police department and these Greeks and Romans and these Edomites is the adversary of the children of Israel. You see, that's who the adversary is. It's not nobody, no spirit. And so that's what they get mixed up. Angels means messenger, not a spirit from heaven. You see, heaven in Revelation is not heaven up there with God. Heaven in Revelation means in the sky. John saw in the sky. He didn't see in where God was at. That was not what he was seeing. You see? And so these people twisted up the scriptures because the ignorance of the Israelites. That's why he say, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge in Hosea 4:6. Because he knew that they would twist these scriptures and deceive the whole world, because he gave this world to them. That's when you go to Matthew. That's another issue I got. These Israelites talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's no spiritual demon Satan. That's a bold-faced lie. It's no spiritual angel. That's the adversary of God. When you say spiritual demon Satan, you saying he the adversary of God. You saying it's an angel that's an adversary of God. That's what you saying. And it's not that. When you go to Matthew chapter 4 and you go to Luke, now they say that the chapter 4, Matthew chapter 4, it say that he was tempted of the devil 40 days, and then he fasted 40 days and 40 nights. And now in verse 8 it say the devil taketh him upon a exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world. Now the Romans owned everything. They had kingdoms. They had multiple kingdoms. Now when you go to Luke or John, it tell you that he took him on top of the Temple Mount. So which one was it? Was it on top of a high mountain, or was it on top of a Temple Mount? You see, that's what they get all confused about. Which one was it? Did he take him up on a high mountain, or did he take him on top of the temple? You see, and show him the kingdom and tell him that you got to do an act of worship to me, because them Caesars was saying that they was gods on earth. They was saying they was God. That's why he killed James. The Caesars stabbed James and killed him, because Caesar thought he was God. So the Edomites are Satan, the devil, and they have 10 kingdoms that they have that's allies, 10 kingdoms that's allies to Babylon the Great America. And Babylon the Great America is the mother of all harlots and whoredom. That's where all the whoredom come from, America. They spread out their whoredom like wine onto the other nation. But this is a perfect picture to what these people have done and made a false image of Satan, when underneath the whole situation, they are the red dragon, and they are Satan, the devil, the adversary and the deceiver of the Israelites. Plain and simple. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace of the elect. Death to America, death to these red dragons. Shalom.